Welcome once again to the Bills and Bones podcast. I'm Gio. I'm here as always with my co-host PC. We started Bills and Bones to talk football for the fans with a focus on PC's team, the Buffalo Bills, and my team, the Las Vegas Raiders. This week we had Raiders struggling to lose against the Broncos, and we had Bills taking the week off. And we have a new sponsor.
Hey, if you're looking for any of your new car needs or any car needs at all, head on over to D&M Auto Sales on 3071 Seneca Street in West Seneca, New York. They have all your tires you need to. That time of the year is coming when you're blowing tires, when we got the plows out and all the wonderful white stuff starts coming. So head on over and stop by 3071 Seneca Street. See Dave or Dave Jr. or give them a call at 716-541-5618. D&M Auto Sales, West Seneca, New York.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with Raiders stuff since my team was the one playing here. We'll start with them. Watching the game, I actually thought that, I guess more like got scared, that we were going to actually win for a while there. We looked pretty good out there. Our offense, we sort of abandoned the run game and went to let's just keep passing it. And that strategy worked for us because our run game has just been so horrible that even our, sort of mediocre passing game looked a lot better to just keep on passing instead of going to the run. The team itself looked more energized, which was interesting. The defense and offense looked like they were having a lot more fun than they've been. I don't know if they've all just kind of embraced the tank and now they're just going to go out there and have fun with it or what. But they looked like a better team out there for a while, to tell you the truth. Like I said, we were ahead. We were throwing the ball. We were catching. No major mistakes, anything like that. And then we started going downhill. Minshew was doing fine, and he winds up at 25 for 42 for 230 yards, one interception, one touchdown. He got injured, and then Ritter went in there, and after that, we had no more worries about winning the game. So Ritter got in there and immediately gave up the ball. Both quarterbacks, both Minshew and Ritter, were missing a lot of passes, throwing behind guys, throwing where guys just were not. There definitely were some communication errors between quarterback receiver, and with Ritter, I'm more patient on a communication error than I am with someone like Minshew out there. I didn't understand how there were so many. It looked like just such confusion out there with Minshew since he's been the guy now for a while. It was nice to see them. They started hitting Myers finally. I've been waiting to see Myers and Tucker get out there a little bit more. Myers had 121 yards. Tucker had 82 yards.
Can I jump in here? You notice that what happens when a good defense plays against your top-notch tight end there too. They took him out of the game plan and made Minshew go to those other guys. And early on, it was working very nicely. And like you said, to have him start finding those other options, you would hope, as a fan anyway, that down the road that those two pieces can help the tight end to get open as well, because 4 catches in a game like that, they're going to need a lot more production out of him for sure. But you're right, they definitely used some of those other weapons while Denver did their best to take him out of the game plan.
They were definitely effective in locking Bowers down a little bit. I mean, Bowers had 10 targets, only 4 receptions. It wasn't like some previous games where I can say that we never tried to get the ball to Bowers. We did try to get the ball to Bowers. We succeeded a little bit, not obviously as much as we had wanted. The absence of the running game, as far as let's not even really try the running game, I actually thought was a better strategy for us. We did not waste nearly as many downs as we normally do with the 2-yard run and then he's stuffed kind of thing. We weren't really wasting downs, and like I said, we were actually advancing quite well there for a while. Abdullah, I was wondering how that would go with him stepping up, into the role. I mean, I say stepping up; he's been around for a while, but they kind of keep on dodging him a little bit as far as he has sort of limited abilities in that position. They use him for what his abilities are. He's good at catching the backfield, those kind of things. This game they try to utilize him more. I actually thought he did a pretty good job. Only got 37 yards out of him, but once again, the plan was not to to rush with him. I mean, receiving, he was at 37. Rushing, he was at 28. Not bad when he's not even being utilized that much. So it was nice to see him out there. McCormick, it was nice seeing him. He's been on our practice squad for years here. We kind of see him in preseason, and he goes out there. He does pretty well. It was nice to see him out there on the field and doing well. I don't think that we have our answer for running back. I don't think that we saw our future running back out there. I think, I like Madison over Abdullah. I'm ready to move on from White. I think lots of people are ready to move on for White. But it's our running game. Yes, you got to put it on your running backs too, but when they don't have those openings and when they don't have those lanes, really, what can they do? You're watching the replays, and it's not that they're not seeing the openings and they're ignoring lanes and all that. There is no lane. It's just a wall. They're not getting the openings that they need from our O line right now. And I was talking to my wife during the game. Running backs are game changers. But if they don't have a lane to go in, then what are they going to do? If you have an amazing wide receiver and you don't have a quarterback to throw to him, then what are they going to do? They're capped at other people on the team. That's why it's a team sport. And I feel like our running back problem has not been solved with our offensive line. Definitely seeing some more holes than we did and taking advantage of those, but nothing that we can hang our hat on, controlling the run. And, that's been a big thing from AP. AP has wanted to be able to ground and pound, and, he's wanted to control that run. And he has not been able to, even be mediocre in that for the whole season yet. And that's something that they're going to have to figure out how to fix. On the other side of the ball with the run, our defense has still not figured out how to stop a run. It's amazing watching, teams run on us, and no one is doing anything about it. It's pretty embarrassing to watch it. Whenever they need that run, then, great. They got that run on us. We're just letting them go right past us. I feel that the tackles were better. We didn't see as many missed tackles. It was some solid tackles, so that was good from the defense. But this defense that we have, especially when we were, putting all of our hopes on, this defense is gonna, get us there, and they're gonna keep us in all these games. The defense has not been there this year. I don't know if Patrick Graham just doesn't have his heart in it right now. Like I said, I personally believe, and not that I've had anything to back it up, but I personally believe that because he got kind of shafted on being offered the head coach job here, and he also got, shafted on head coach jobs anywhere else, I think that there is a little bit of bitterness there. He's been wanting to be a head coach for, a couple years. There's been rumors about, maybe Patrick Graham will move up to head coach, and then he kind of had his opportunity here, and it went to AP instead of him. So I don't know if he's a little jaded about that, but from a professional standpoint, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because if your defense is horrible, it's not helping you get out of here and get that head coach job, or even move to another team. You're not helping yourself. So it doesn't make sense.
He might latch on to someone else that he may have worked with before. I don't know. I mean, I think the one thing that I was really surprised at, it seemed to me when I was watching the game, the Raiders controlled most of it. And, going into halftime, they were winning. They were really good on third down and got them off the field. And like you said, they were tackling pretty well. But Turnovers were horrible. Minshew's pick was at the absolute worst time and completely flipped the game. And I mean, even when they had the chance there at the end, G, when Minshew was out, I think all of the Raiders fans across the nation knew that there was no way that either one of those two dweebs that were coming in were going to do anything. So I'm telling you, that's just the epitome of QB purgatory. One of your guys actually has a good game going, and he gets knocked out, and one of the other scrubs have to come back in. I mean, that's just the way it's been going for you guys. And like I said, Denver was focused on stopping Bowers and making other guys do stuff, and they were. If you don't have Minshew's pick and they actually turn that into points, it would have been a completely different ball game. And the way they played in the first half, if they can have that type of effort each and every week, it's going to be different. That's why I think, I just think for sure Chiefs week's a hell of a lot different for anybody who's playing against them. They're going to get their shot at the champs probably for the last time this year, and I'm sure they're going to give them a good one.
We'll see. I mean, if Carolina can give them a good one, then I mean it's kind of embarrassing if we cannot.
Well, didn't Carolina beat you? Didn't that happen?
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
a little bit.
Just
Maybe
checking.
a little bit.
Speaking of embarrassing, just wanted to make sure that we didn't forget about that.
We gave them their second and last win. Yeah.
Bryce Young looked great. I don't know if you saw any of that game. Holy
He
moly,
did. I
some
was
of his
watching that
throws
game,
were
yeah.
great, man. Like he was definitely a lot more patient and was carving up that zone defense. So I mean, anybody can win in this league any week, G, and that's why I have very good faith that your boys are going to go out and put a real good effort on Friday night, which is pretty cool.
Hopefully. The stadium, once again, we might as well be doing silent counts in our own stadium. Broncos fans showed up. We definitely, it was very noticeable, too, with all that orange and the black. It was very noticeable.
There's a lot of that going on out west. Arizona, that's happening. And I don't know if you watched the Rams in Philly last night.
Yes, I made the comment. Yes, I was like, I think even the announcers, I believe, made a comment about just all the green out there. Like, where the hell is Philadelphia coming from to be all the way out there? But yeah, and that's kind of a rare thing. At SoFi, I mean, we kind of, Raiders kind of, we make fun of Chargers about that all the time when we play Chargers out there. How much black jerseys we got going out there, but Rams really did not have the support whatsoever in their own stadium. So we'll see.
Not this week when we play the 49ers this week, but you know who goes out there next weekend?
Who's out there next weekend?
And we go out there next weekend. We don't mention red, white, and blue you see in that place because this will be, I believe, the third time we've gone out, once against the Ram and once against the Chargers, and they're undefeated there so far. So, I mean, it's a great trip, an amazing stadium, and obviously Bills Mafia is always represented. So we'll see how it goes, but I wouldn't be surprised if they take that one over. They took over Seattle. I mean, you could take over Seattle, you could take over anything, except for Arrowhead. That's about it.
Well, till Chiefs start losing, then we'll see what happens with Arrowhead fans. But
I'll check back with you in 2040.
One of the highlights of the game was that trick play in the first quarter to convert it. That was pretty cool. That was fun to watch. It really got people in the game, and
that's why I watched. I saw that play and I was in.
And it set a pace for the game, and that pace continued, until, we had those two turnovers during the game, and, the first one, made the huge difference in the game as far as, that was our score that we were behind. And then the second one was just a kill to the momentum, and those two turnovers were huge. We had our 22nd turnover during that game. We've given up, well over 80 yards at this point, in turnovers. I mean, it's just sloppy, and I do feel like we are tightening up. I feel like the penalties aren't nearly as ridiculous, as they were. Especially, I mean, if you think about history wise, They're definitely not as ridiculous as they used to be, but even the past couple of games with AP, penalties have gotten better. There does seem to be a little bit more discipline out there on the field. I mean, the question comes down, is AP in on, this plan? AP doesn't seem very worried, so I'm kind of wondering if he's aware of it. I with all the stories that have been coming out the past week and a half about who's going to take over the Raiders after they can AP. I was kind of wondering if that's why we saw a little bit different vibe on the team against the Broncos early on, because they've been kind of flat and just kind of going with it. And then last week, for whatever reason, last week there were several articles on who's going to take over for AP, who is Brady going to put in for AP. Is AP going to be fired mid-season? Is he going to be fired at the end of this season? Nobody was talking about AP hanging around for next season. There was a whole lot of articles in the negative there. So I was kind of wondering if AP's not in on that tank, if he's starting to get a little bit concerned about, his future with the team. And this game, didn't really cement anything. It didn't really make AP look great. I mean, penalties were down. Yeah, Minshew's making better decisions, but, Minshew's better decisions are not he's making game-changing passes. It's he's throwing it out of bounds instead of throwing it to their team every time. It's not.
He got sacked 5 times too, and there was some chicken shit punts in that game, like usual with you guys, or a field goal when we should have went for a touchdown type of things. Look, man, when your quarterback is a turnover machine like Minshew has been for you this season, it's very difficult for the coach to get out of his own way, because who else is he going to blame but himself with who he's got in there? But they're just. It seems to me that they always make a mistake. They start off great in every game, G. We've seen it all season. But some point down the line during that game, something stupid happens, and it just seems to go downhill from there. I'd love to see a great start against the Chiefs because they consistently have it. So we'll see. Like you said, if the Panthers can go out there and give them a fight, you should be able to do it too.
Should be. We'll see how that goes. Next week, I will be on a cruise ship, so we're going to be having Nate come here and help you guys out with the show on the Raiders side of things. So we'll see what. Yeah, I'm gonna try to somehow catch the game on the missing a Raiders Chiefs game. Like, there's a whole lot of other games that I would kind of volunteer to miss.
Where are you going to be on Friday? Exactly where will you be?
We're flying into Florida Friday night, late Friday night. So, and then we're catching the boat Saturday.
You're lucky you stink, or you'd be going nuts. If the Raiders are any good, you would be going crazy. Wow.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a whole lot of other teams that I wouldn't mind not watching the game right now. But even with what's going on, I still want to see the Chiefs game. So we're gonna try to make it happen. Luckily, my wife supports my madness, and she's a big fan, so we can usually make it work.
On a couple of flights Stace and I have been on, there some of the playoff games around when we were watching. So, I mean, I remember when the Bills smacked New England a couple years ago. We got stuck on the runway for a little while, and we were watching a couple. I think it was Cincy and Pittsburgh, maybe, I don't know, but they always take care of you on those flights. They'll have something for you.
So talking Bowers here, we might as well talk about the highlight of the team. As far as tight ends go, I mean he's doing his job. It's great to see. It's nice to have some offensive player to hang our hat on. He's definitely limited by who we have throwing him the ball for sure. But even with those limitations, if we look at these numbers here. He's killing it. So it's nice that we have a future there. Hopefully we can, extend his contract when it comes up and make him stay. I think that a good quarterback is going to help with that. He didn't seem very excited about coming to Vegas when he was drafted. There was a lot of talk and speculation about his reaction when he found out, when he got that call and when he found out he was going to be drafted by the Raiders. So I think it's kind of up to us to find a way to keep him around. But, all the talk about Kelsey and, Kittle and all those kind of things, if we look at the chart here, we need to keep Bowers in black and silver if we're going to have, an offensive deal. I mean, as far as wide receivers go, I'm not, disappointed in Myers, but he's not, he's not like a young, Devontae or something like that, So we need to look at our wide receivers. We look at our running backs, but at the very least, we got something good going with Bowers. During the game, we had Bowers here as far as the rookie reception record. I know you probably can't see number 2 there. If I zoom in, here's my guy that I missed that you guys are going to be enjoying right here.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that for tight ends or that's just for receptions? That's for receptions. Wow. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I mean,
it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. So he's replacing Amari Cooper there at with 72, and it's been since 2015.
One thing that is very common in QB purgatory is solid tight end play because you're playing from behind quite a bit. You have defenses that are playing a lot more zone, so if they're bringing heat, a tight ends and running backs are going to be the checkdowns for a lot of the quarterbacks. And I'm not saying that all of Bowers' catches are those, but I wanted to see his performance against a much more solid defense in Denver, and especially early on in the game. And he had some plays, but at the end of the day, I feel like he is someone that, like you said, is going to thrive and do a hell of a lot better when he's got more talented players around him. When they have a dude that's putting numbers up like that in his rookie year, imagine with him with a guy like, a Diggs or Justin Jefferson, for Christ's sake. Imagine that a player like that who's going to open
and with
up
an offense built to feature him as well. Like, it'd be nice to see an offense that's kind of built to feature both of our. Mayer, I am a very big fan of Mayer as well. Mayer just came back. It's not like they've been playing the whole season together. So both of our tight ends that we use, typically are great, but we need an offensive scheme and someone that can help them out a little bit. And they both do different things well.
The Chiefs are blessed because they can and did for years build around Kelsey's mismatches. The last couple of years. But, in the beginning it wasn't like that. He had Hill. He had other receivers that he could go to. He's always had solid running backs. So, tight end position is not something that I would want to be my feature player. I understand what's going on in Kansas City is a little bit unique, but I would much rather have, a big-time player that can do it down the field and then have a tight end who is capable of changing games for sure. But I don't need him to be, my best player on the field. That's for sure.
On defense, of course, Crosby still continues to shine here. 100 tackles for loss. Thing that we have not been seeing from Crosby recently, and I think even the announcers had mentioned it, is where are those sacks? We have not been, seeing them the past couple of games. I love Crosby. I think that he's a big part of this team, a big part of the Raiders' attitude, mentality, all those kind of things. But he hasn't been that guy that, we're saying every game, yep, he's getting to the quarterback. He's downing people, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't been making that impact, sacks wise. He's been making the impact in other areas. But the whole thing about Crosby is, watching him down these quarterbacks. And that's something that we've been missing out on as well, on defense side of things. So it'd be nice to see that pick up a little bit.
I feel like as watching the game on Sunday, they're flying around in the first half, and they seemed very slow in the second. Like I said, they were great on third down, especially in the first part of the game, but as the game went on, and it wasn't like a big difference in time of possession. They were pretty similar, but it seemed to me like they got pretty tired for sure. So I don't know what's going on with that, but you're right. He needs, if they're going to have any success ever in most games, and come Friday, if they're going to do anything, they need him to be there.
So let's talk some rumors here.
Oh,
Oh, God. So, this one, please don't let this happen. There's Daniel Jones. Obviously, he's an interest right now. Raiders fans are kind of divided on it. To me, he's just another, as you like to say, QB purgatory thing. His stats are not much different from Minshew's. I mean, it's not like it's a huge trade up. He's not someone that I really want as a bridge, QB. As far as, to me, that would be his only value to us at this point. Would be as a bridge QB. He's not somebody that I really want for that. I don't really feel like the change to Raiders would, really increase his game as far as, he'd gain tons more weapons and all those kind of things. And, he'd be great on the right team and all those kind of things. I don't really feel that Raiders is the team for that. Frankly, I think he'd do better going to 49ers than going to Raiders. However, we were talking before the show. To me, I'm hoping like someone like the 49ers pick him up, because the Raiders make such bad decisions that if another team doesn't get in our way, I'm worried that we're going to make more bad decisions. And I think Daniel Jones is going to be that bad decision. I mean, is he better than what we've seen out of Ritter? Okay, yeah, I guess, yeah. But, we're going to be having Aiden back next game because he's going to be off injured reserve, so he's going to be out there. Minshew is out for the season with a collarbone. So, they're leaning, thinking, maybe, Jones comes over here since Minshew is out, and, Ritter's had 2 small chances and, completely failed on both those chances. Maybe a Jones-O'Connell combination is what we need, but not something that I'm excited about. That's for sure.
here's the thing with him. He's already got his money. So wherever he could pick where he wants to go, and I think the last place where he'd want to be, G, is in Las Vegas. Looking at what Vegas has, the Ravens are most likely to grab him, and then followed by Minnesota. And that tells me one thing. Both of those teams believe that they can win if their quarterback goes down. Lamar is always a threat to get smashed. He's smaller. He has gotten hurt in the past. And if he was to go down, Daniel Jones could go in there and do just fine with that offense, I believe, especially knowing that he's got King Henry in the backfield. Same with Minnesota. There are so many weapons on that offense. Justin Jefferson just to start with, and an incredible tight end like we were just talking about. So they've got an offense that could slide him in and be effective. Now, again, 49ers are a team who are desperate. They're in a division there. They're down one game, and they have had horrible quarterback play the entire season. So maybe with having McCaffrey back and combining him with Daniel Jones and, and your Debos and guys like that out there, they could turn it around. So those would be the top three teams I think would be most obvious for him to go to. And like I said, he already has his money, so why not wait and see what the best offer is going to be? He doesn't need to run anybody right now. He can wait and see if someone does get hurt, and then the door opens, he can walk right through it. And obviously the Raiders would not be someone he'd be interested in, knowing that he wants to play for some type of a contender.
And knowing that, our whole goal is, it's not a secret that we're trying to draft a QB next year.
Want him. Right. Yeah.
So, as far as him, there's not a lot of job security coming over the Raiders when what we're trying to do is, find that franchise quarterback. However, like I said, my concern about it is those are the kind of decisions that Raiders make is, okay, great, let's grab Jones. In our past, those are the kind of decisions that we make. Hopefully, Tom, both Toms there, Telesco and Brady. Hopefully they kind of get in the way of those kind of decisions at this point. But, I've been waiting to do this one because I wanted to, see when it was going to be a little bit more secure. Now with where they're at in negotiation, it does seem like this is definitely going to be something that is going to
pitcher
go through. It's not a very favorable one.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it's not a very favorable
between
one.
The fat Mark Davis and his dead father Al right now. That's what that picture is like a cross between. So.
Although I got to tell you, considering lots of pictures about him, at least that one, he looks kind of like regal. He looks like he's got like an old like Reaganish sort of quality to him right here. He looks kind of old and sane and regal and like dignified. Like he looks better than like a troll underneath a bridge. Like he looks like a lot of times. So I mean that's something that he's got that going on. Yeah.
Nice.
So this sale of the 15%, he's splitting it between two investors. Neither one of them are anything that it's not like a Tom Brady, situation or something. One of them, Durbin, he is actually involved with the WME that represents players, 78 different NFL players, including like Burrow and Jefferson and Bosa, those kind of big names. The question with him is going to be, how does all that work out? Because an owner cannot have a stake in a team and have a stake in a representing agency at the same time. So he has to disclose all of his dealings with WME and what his actual role is with that and all those kind of things. So, we'll see how that pans out. The division that he contributes to, represents some really good NFL players, but it's not like he's out there like scouting these players or anything. He's just investing in WME. So it's not going to, change, any of our operation as far as, great, we got another great mind to, help control this team or something.
No,
That's not
going to make your prices go up. That's what it's going to do. Because they're going to want to make their money now too.
And then the second guy that's definitely going to do that is Michael Meldman. He's a luxury golf resort developer, owner, all those kind of things. He's the founder of Discovery Land Company. He lives in Vegas, at least. Both him and Durbin there would be getting a 7.5% of the Raiders. So they're going to be splitting that 15% equity in it. We've been wanting to see Davis sell this team. I don't think anybody was really rooting for piecemealing the team out. I think that we were hoping for, to get an owner like Brady, becomes the owner of, Raiders or whatever. Actually, I think they'd flip out if Brady became
a lot of teams do this, don't they? The Bills just did this too. They sold about 20% to Arctos, which is a huge firm that owns a bunch of teams. They sold them about 10.6%, and then there was a small group of executives who also got another 10%. They were led by a guy named Rob Palumbo, who's pretty well known in the sports world too. So like that, again, like what does that mean to the average fan? Well, guess what? As these PSLs and these ticket sales continue to increase, this is the reason why, because you have so many more people with hands in the pot that want their cut too. And if they're buying a stake from the original owner, they're doing it with plans to make more money. That's the obvious goal. And I mean, if you got it, go for it. That was what a couple of weeks ago we talked a little bit about this. Vince Carter and Tracy Grady, two basketball players, are part of that group of investors too. So having people, nitpicking at your squad, yes, it can be kind of frustrating because who knows what that means down the road, but it definitely helps us in this small market because we're going to get a lot more exposure having these types of people around and hopefully some new ideas that can make things a little bit easier for everybody. And win.
We were successful
Oh, yeah.
I view success as every time we move this number up. So we were successful. We are now at number 3. So way to go, Vegas. We're doing our thing. The Giants are a concern in the draft as far as competing for a quarterback. To me, it kind of depends on where you're at as far as what QB do you want for how much Giants are a threat. I think that if you want Sanders, then Giants are a threat to that because I think that Sanders is a quarterback that Giants would be interested in. His play style, all those kind of things. I think that would be an interest in the Giants. Me personally, I am, more into other options than Sanders, Cam Ward being one of them. So I don't mind a team ahead of us that would draft Sanders because I don't really mind him being off the table for us because if Sanders is on the table for us, there's no way we're going to pass him up. Brady has too much of a relationship with him. Davis is going to want the name. So if Sanders is on the table, he's going to be our next quarterback. So if you are somebody that likes Sanders, then this is a problem for you, that Giants are number 2. If you are somebody that, wants to move away from Sanders, then great. Giants will hopefully get in the way of that, and we'll be free to go after, Cam Ward or something like that. Not worried about Jacksonville, going for a QB.
Yeah, you might have to start because it seems to me like there's a lot of people down in Duval that aren't really liking that quarterback. But you're right, they're stuck with him with the money for sure.
Yeah, I don't think, at least this year, I don't see them, especially not with the QB pool that we have this year. I mean, to us, the QB pool seems great just because of how bad our situation is. But the QB pool is not an amazing group of options this year. So I'm not worried about Jacksonville. I'd be more worried about Giants because they're in a desperate spot
100%.
like we are right now.
I think it'll be you and the Giants fighting for that number 1 spot. Carolina is not going to be taking a quarterback now anyway after watching him play last weekend. I mean, you look at the teams that are ahead of you. I feel like the Browns are going to win some more games. They go in and they take care of the Steelers and the Ravens. They're going to beat some good teams down the road here, so they'll be out of the picture. I'm sure that I don't know. Will the Jets be better without Rodgers in there?
There's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about moving on from both Rodgers and Devontae already. Well, on Devontae already on him.
I mean, it looks like you guys on the Raiders ended up making out like bandits on this deal. So who knows? He could end up going playing somewhere else. But I'm just saying, looking at the order there, you are battling probably first and foremost with the Giants, and that's. I mean, I'm sure Tennessee could fall off, but they had another good win too. They beat the Texans. So, like I said, win Friday for me, and then you can lose the rest of the games for the rest of the season. Okay.
I don't see our schedule getting any better.
One game.
The win that I could see as far as us getting another win. I like we line up with Jags not bad, so maybe a win there. But I mean, I at this point in the season, every single win we have is counterproductive. So Raiders fans, sorry, but I understand you don't like to see
over by week 13. Sorry, my bad.
Any win we have, just think of it this way, everybody. While you're watching Raiders lose, think we're actually winning. That could be your new mantras. Every time we're losing, we're actually winning, and every time we win a game, we're kicking ourselves out of a chance to get a new quarterback. So, not something that we want to have happen. Okay, let's talk Bills news. What you got going on over there?
Well, obviously coming off the bye week, we're very excited for Sunday Night Football. It looks like a lot of the guys that have not been out there are coming along and should be ready to go come this weekend. Now, that doesn't mean that Milano is going to be out there, but I think we will see Kincaid. I'm pretty sure that we're going to see Brown will be back, and I don't know about Coleman yet, but I think that we may even see Dwayne Carter, who messed up his wrist a couple weeks ago, and he's been back out there. But the main thing, we want to see Dalton Kincaid get back so that he can be a big part of this offense, and also Coleman. You want your rookie to be out there coming down the stretch, and I'm excited for it. Obviously, knowing that, these three NFC games that we have coming up, okay? After our home game, two on the road in domes, right? So why would we rush guys out there to play this week? With I don't know if you saw the weather forecast, but there's a big chance for some storms this weekend. So why risk the chance of having a guy get hurt with the snow and the shit and all the baloney that we got here in Buffalo when we'll be playing out in LA against the Rams next week and then go to Detroit the week after that. So I'm glad that the injuries are coming along nicely, and I hope that, these guys are ready to go. But from the years of being, a contending team like we've been, our number one obstacle late in the season is staying healthy. And if we can do that finally, I think getting into the playoffs, making a legitimate run will be the goal. I mean, it should be. And we already talked about it before the show started, G. The Dolphins have to go into Lambeau on Thursday night on Thanksgiving. If they lose, which they will, and we win on December 1st, we will be the AFC East champions with 5 more freaking games to go in the season. So that's unheard of. That's stuff the Patriots did, man. So, I mean, that is crazy, and I'm excited about it. And obviously this week is a big week for us.
What are you thinking for any rest of your season? What challenges are you seeing ahead of you?
Well, there's been some. Obviously, I don't want to overlook the Rams because taking a plane out to LA to play anybody in any sport is always a little bit difficult with the time changes and things like that. But
That Lions game is what I'm excited for.
Well,
I'm
that's
excited
exact-
for that Bills Lions thing.
well,
game.
apparently, so are a lot of media outlets because they want to take that and make it into a primetime game. Now, it's going to be hard to do that because obviously CBS has it. So they have to figure out if they're going to keep it and make it a night game, and how would they be able to do that. So, but either way, obviously people are talking big. Detroit's the real deal. We've seen them beat the shit out of teams for the last month, and as we move into the playoffs, they are as dangerous as it gets. They are awesome on offense, defense, and special teams. They could take it to the house. They can block punts. They got an awesome defense, and they got a quarterback who's smart with a running back who is banged up. But with him in there, they're going to be pretty unstoppable. But the Bills have been there, done that. We've gone in there and played well. Over the last 10 years, since I've dated and now married my wife, we've gone to Detroit for a couple games, and the Bills have come out on top. So if you remember Thanksgiving 2 years ago, man, there was a sweet play.
During this, yeah.
Oh, God,
That was
Josh.
that snow out one, right?
No. We played Cleveland Sunday because it was supposed to be in Buffalo. Thursday, we actually played the Lions. So we played in Detroit 4 games. We were working together, NG. 4 games. And on third, we won them both. Thursday, there was like 20 seconds left, and we were at our own 20. Josh threw a bullet to Diggs to like their 42. And then we ran it a couple more times and kicked a field goal and won it. So, like, they've been exciting games down to the wire, and I would expect in 2 weeks when we go down there and play, it's going to be rocking, and it's going to be a really, really good one. And then the last 3 games of the year are divisional games, but teams that we should handle, and we have for the last couple years. We've got the Jets coming in. We've got the Pats coming in here. Then the Jets come in here, and then we go to New England. So, we wrap up the division with cupcakes so far. I shouldn't say
Yeah.
cupcakes, but teams that have been very down for the last couple years. We've got them at the end of the year to figure out, hey man, we may have the 1 seed. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. Obviously the 49ers present a threat. And if Purdy's in there, they're a lot more difficult of a challenge, knowing that they've been to the Super Bowl, knowing that they've got great players in McCaffrey and a stacked defense. But the Bills are locked in. If they have their boys back and everybody's healthy and everybody's doing their job, I'll tell you two things that are going to happen. They're going to come to play and they're going to be ready, and the fans are going to be freaking rocking because they've been dying to see their team for the last 2 weeks after listen to everybody talk about how good they are. So let's come out there and show them that they're still one of the best, if not the best team in the league right now.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting game for Rams. Your end of the season, man. It just you once you get through the Lions, Pats twice, Jets. Like you got to be happy about ending your season that way.
Of course, but you want to end it strong. You want to end it strong, right? You don't want to be playing down to your competition and then that bullshit starts in the playoffs. Look, you get the 1 seed and you get the bye, you get the lay back, keep healthy, and go through what we just did, which is an amazing 14 days. You and I talked about it a bunch. Little bumps and bruises can become a lot worse, man. But if you get 14 days to relax, a guy like Josh who put it all out there against the Chiefs and got his ass knocked around, but got the work done, has 14 days to go play golf and sit in the hot tub and watch film, dude. It's a good place to be for any football player. And we haven't had the bye this late in the season, and to have it has been a gift. And the schedule is turning out to be an even bigger one.
Especially with the way it works out. Going into your bye, with, your record, with, slaying the Chiefs, all those kind of things. It's a really nice way to go into a bye. You guys got to go into a bye and relax, your team actually got to relax for the bye and kind of reflect a little bit and all those kind of things. So it was perfect timing, for that bye after the Chiefs game there. That was perfect timing for you guys.
Look, if we take care of business the next 2 weeks and Detroit continues to do what they're doing, you're going to have a team that hasn't lost since the beginning of October against a team that hasn't lost since the opener, playing in what could be the Super Bowl preview, and all of the people around here are going to eat it up. And it'll be fun. Those teams are going to love to compete, and Campbell will want to make a statement the same way McDermott will. So finally, maybe we can get the Battle of Lake Erie down in New Orleans, but that's a long way away. But we get a little preview possibly on December 15th.
So Raiders fans coming up for the Chiefs game, if you if you are people that like to bet, I was curious, so I looked up the current MGM line, which actually has shifted quite a bit actually from last time I checked on it. But you got Raiders money line at plus 550 right now. So if you wanted to spend some money and go on a prayer and a dream, it's a good game to do that at plus 550. The over and under at 42 that's a tricky one.
I would suggest taking the Chiefs in one of your parlays for a lock. But other than that, I would definitely hope that you Raiders fans get something nice on that day.
Yeah, at least that way, you got some stake in it besides, hoping for the tank. But I might wind up putting some, especially if I can't watch. I feel like if I can't watch the game, I'll feel better about betting on the game because I'll be less stressed doing the bet when I can't watch the game. So I have to figure out if I'm going to be able to watch it or not. Unfortunately, I am splitting my YouTube TV thing, so I don't have it on my phone. Last year, I had it on my phone, so I could still watch the games, all the games on my phone. But this year not so much. So hopefully, I might put some money down on this one right before the cruise.
Nice.
Could be cool. We will see you next week. Like I said, we're going to have Nate back on the show next week. I'm going to try to teach PC here how to run a show on a computer. So that'll be interesting to see. We'll see what happens to the show next week.
If I'm upside down on the screen for half of the show, folks, don't be alarmed. I'll just send a message in a bottle to our leader over here.
It took a couple of months to get him to get his camera to turn on, but
hey, are you planning on buying the internet package on your little endeavor?
it's so expensive. Like, it's just so. I might buy it for like one of our phones at least, just to have
do
one
it.
of us have the ability to have it.
I was going to tell you, don't do it because typically they have like a communication on there where you can text each other back and forth, and the Wi-Fi will allow you to do that unless you want to, obviously be texting people. But it is a joke, man. It is expensive. It is expensive.
It was crazy expensive. We got walkie talkies for us and the kids
Smart.
for on the boat, but yeah, we probably won't do that.
I would say
but-
just use your phone as a camera, man. That's the best thing to do on those trips, and have fun, buddy.
So we will see you guys next week, and make sure you check us out on our YouTube channel. For those of you guys that like to listen to the show, we are on every carrier of podcast shows, so you can grab us on any of those carriers. If you want to see us in live action here, you can check out YouTube. Either way, catch us, give us some likes, let us know you're listening, and we will see you next week.